that helps you overcome financial catastrophe. If you are struggling with financial ruin or a big medical setback that has you worried about all the numbers, stick with me and we'll keep chatting. So, if you don't know me, Dr. Ashley, we have been talking this month about should I stay or should I go? We've been talking specifically about should you stay in the career that you're in, should you keep fighting for it, or should you give up? And we've been talking about my story when I graduated from medical school and then got meningitis. I got sick and got pulled off work. So it looked like I was about to start working as a doctor for the first time ever, and I made it 3 days in and then was pulled off work. So I'm sitting at home waiting for over a month to get cognitive testing done, and the cognitive testing is going to determine whether or not I can go back to work. Sounds easy enough, but the problem is right around this time is when the medical bills from the hospital stay start rolling in. So at the time, I had no idea that medical bills came in separate pieces, right? You get like the hospital bill and then like the doctor's bill and then the ER bill. Like I had no idea there were separate ones. But to be fair, the first one was bad enough. It was like $57,000 or something like that. And, it really didn't seem like a bad idea at the time. I was 25, I was healthy. So I had just kind of foregone health insurance for the last few months because I'd aged out of my parents' medical coverage. And I had 6 months left until I was going to start working as a doctor and would get my own health insurance. So the I talked with my classmates about this. We all kind of had this discussion, and some of them were able to get like temporary policies. But I said, "Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's all good." And then I got admitted to the hospital for several weeks, of course. So, not to make you scared, but if you are someone who is young and healthy, do consider health insurance at least, okay? So you don't have to do what I did. But anyway, so I'm getting all the medical bills, and in total, they add up to about $80,000 once they're all done. And of course, I'm not even done accumulating medical bills, right? Like, I have to go get this cognitive testing, which I have to pay out of pocket, and all these different things. And also, I'm not getting paid, right? They just pulled me off work. I'm not going to get paid for this month, and I'm kind of out of money. Everything that I got from graduation was supposed to last me these few weeks between now and the first paycheck. So I've got a little bit of money left to get like one last thing of groceries, and then I'm kind of going to be screwed. So, um, where do you go for help? The biggest place to start is I have a big amount of medical bills to pay, or I have a big financial problem to deal with. So, what do I do? So, the first place I would start is where can you get help, right? Exhaust your resources. Just ask. It does not hurt to ask. And if you've got a big bill that you're looking at like this, then just go for it. It like even if they say no, at least you tried. So the first place I went is I actually went back to my boss. And I was like, look, I worked 3 days. Can you give me anything, right? And they said no. So, but at least I asked, right? So, no, I was not going to be paid for this month, and then I clearly wasn't going to get paid until I started working. And the way that it works is we get paid at the end of the month. So I wasn't going to get paid for July, and if I didn't work for August, then I wouldn't get paid for August. But then I would have July and August and September's bills. Ooh, it's not looking good. Okay, so I need more help. Where else can I get help? So government assistance, right? Somebody tells me to go ask the government for some help. Sounds reasonable enough. Why not? That's what they're there for. Things are hard and I need help. So I wait in this like 3 hour line, and I finally get in to see the lady that's in charge, and she asks me one question. One, what is your salary? And I'm like, well, my salary is for the year July to July, but this is my salary. And she goes, okay, you don't qualify. And I was like, right, but one, my salary, like, The 6 months at the beginning of this year I didn't work, right? Like I got no money this year. I got paid zero. Two, I am off work. Like they have pulled me off work. They're not giving me my salary. Three, I need help. Please help me. And it didn't matter. She said I did not qualify. They gave me nothing and sent me home. So, somebody told me to ask the hospital for assistance, right? The medical department itself. So they're like, okay, great. Yeah, sure, we'll help. You have $80,000 worth of bills. We'll give you 3 years to pay them off. Have fun. And so, okay, well, that's, I guess, helpful, but I still don't actually have that paycheck, right? Like, what have you. So my other go-to back then, I mean, even now, my parents, yay, let's see what they can do. Except both my parents have basically just taken a month off work because they were with me in the hospital. And so they're kind of trying to rebuild their own careers and they kind of are having their own problems with that. They nearly lost their jobs for getting all that time off last minute. So that's not going to work. Okay, well, what do people always say? Go get another job. That's gonna go great. Hi, I'm Ashley. I have brain damage. I need a job for the next few weeks slash months slash I'm not sure how long, and then I'm gonna go back to my real job. Will you hire me? Yeah, it didn't really go well. All right, so one, ask around as much as you possibly can. And back then, by the way, we did not have like Uber and uh, Uber Eats and stuff like that quite as easy. So no, I did not pick up one of those jobs. But second thing you want to do is pull back your expectations. The other part of this story is part of orientation week. They gave us this handout and sat and talked about finances, and they said, look, you are going to work hard as a doctor. You need to party hard too. They said just let your everybody in your life know that you're busy. You should not be expected to make food. You should not be expected to clean your house. You should not be expected to do anything except go to work and come home and have fun. So, spend as much money as you need to live in a place that's going to make it worth it. And otherwise, just use your money for like food and whatever relaxing thing you need to do on the like one day off you'll get a week, right? So that sounds like a great plan, I guess. It didn't really sound like a great plan to me, but theoretically, that's what everybody else was going to do. But clearly, that's not what I'm going to do. I don't have any money, right? So I can't work hard, play hard. Um, I'm going to have to pull back and act like a poor student again. This would have been my first paycheck in my life. I've been in school for the past 8 years, but you know, things don't always go the way you hope. So I get a little bit more of the delayed gratification I've been on my whole life, right? And I had to put myself on a strict budget. This is how much I have for loans. This is how much I have for my car. This is how much I have for medical bills and rent. And the other thing I had to do is both of my roommates had moved out. And I briefly thought about living by myself. I could probably afford it now with a paycheck. Not anymore. So I had asked people, I had been looking around for roommates when I was in the hospital, and one of the many things I woke up to in the hospital was a bunch of angry emails and texts about me not responding to people wanting to live with me. But I scrambled and I found some roommates. I scrambled and found some ways to get some food for cheap. Mostly just a lot of shakes since I had lost weight and needed to gain weight. And basically just scrambled and put myself back on the strict budget I had been on my entire college grad school life. How little can I possibly spend? And what else can I sell in the meantime, right? if you've got anything left, that's always a good go-to as well. So the last step, the third step, and the one that I am a little bit ashamed about how long it took. I exhausted all my resources. I asked all the people. I did all the online searches. I looked up all the different ways that you can get money or assistance, especially if you've had like some kind of big medical setback. And I still didn't actually have a paycheck. I still didn't actually have money for how I was going to pay my rent at the end of the month. My pastors was meeting with my pastors, and they were like, "And so, have you prayed about this?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I should try that. That sounds good." And the bigger thing that I think about it now, the way that I think about it now, it's not necessarily about praying. I think the problem here wasn't necessarily that I didn't ask God for it. The the problem, or the thing that I really had to learn this entire situation, this entire couple of years, as more financial things and more medical problems and more spiritual problems came up, what I had to keep learning and reminding myself is that God was still on my side. I don't know if you've ever been through some kind of big setback or some kind of like horrible or ridiculous life circumstance, but the hardest thing to remember is that God is still on your side, that God hasn't abandoned you or given up on you or left you to your own demise or what have you. And that, I think, is the key that I worked on over the next couple of days. Like, God, I trust that even if things continue to look this hopeless and this bad, that you are still for me and you are still going to help me, even if it doesn't look like a bag of money. Thank you. And so, what I actually ended up with, the secret to how I got through all of this, I ended up with two miracles. So, the first miracle was my job made a deal. So, they said, look, if you give up your vacation for the rest of the year, your 3 weeks of vacation, we will give you a 3 week paycheck for 3 weeks. I said, I'll take it. Thank you. I need some money, please. I couldn't actually sign up for the cognitive testing until I had enough cash to pay for it. So, gosh, I needed money. So that was huge, even though it meant I lost vacation time for the entire year. And then the bigger blessing, 1 week later, I got another bill from student health. And essentially, I had some type of student health insurance through the medical school that I had never known about, had not known I had paid for, did not know was part of our system in any way, shape, or form. And so they took my medical bills from about, I think probably like $80,000 to probably more like 12, 14, somewhere around that. It made it a whole lot more manageable because, to be fair, that was the biggest bill I had at the time. So, if you are struggling with some kind of big setback that's got you feeling completely overwhelmed, do exhaust your resources. Do make sure that you look and ask and go to anyone that you can. Don't make assumptions. But also, don't forget that God loves you. Even if you're in a situation that feels like God has abandoned you from, He's the only one who can work out miracles that you wouldn't have even thought of and fix it. And more than that, I think the main thing that I took from this story is take authority that you are not alone. Do not forget that regardless of how bad the circumstances look, God is still on your side and will still help you no matter what. So, I hope you're having a great weekend. And if you haven't already started praying, it's time. Have a good one.